All right, welcome back for another study session. We're going to continue working on our big blind defense today, primarily single raised pots. We're going to work on 50 big blinds as we've been working our way down from 100 till we get to some short stack play to wrap up the year. So today we are going to get ourselves into a pot by calling with a hand that frequently calls, occasionally three bets, and we are going to check, and then we are going to take a look at some population tendencies. Or range construction here. So facing a big bet. We will take a look at what we are going to do generally, and then we'll come back and do some specific examples and have some fun. So in these single raise pots, our opponent is going to have a wide variety of sizes, and we are going to take a look at kind of all of our responses, right? As we saw before, we're going to be primarily checking, right? We're going to have a few leads on really connected low boards that are going to be stuff that we have a little bit of shenanigans on, right? Where we just kind of have a slight edge in terms of our board coverage compared to the cutoff here. But when the cutoff bets, we're going to take a look at what we're going to do against kind of all these different sizes. We can see that when our opponent bets a very polarized bet, we have a very call-oriented response, right? We're only raising back about 7.5% of the time and calling 35%. Why? Because when they bet this big amount, they are saying, I am at the top of my range with value, or I am bluffing. And so we don't want to raise back against the top of the range in value and their bluffs. We want to keep their bluffs in. So we primarily call. As they use a smaller and smaller size, our check raise frequency is going to rise. Now we've got about 11% check raise, right, throughout the field against a slightly less polarized size. And then against a much more standard c-bet size, we see that our check raise rises to about 16%, and so call down to 43%. So we can see a wide variety of what's going to happen. What I want to really focus on today, though, is why are we using small size check raises and big size check raises here? And what determines that for us? So when we take a look at these concepts, if we just kind of look broadly down the line, we can see that like a board like Ace Queen 6 with flush draw is using lots of big sizing. Ace Queen Rainbow is even using bigger sizing when it wants to. When we go to a smaller board, like Ace 6-4, we are using much more of the small size raise, and Ace 6-5, much more of the small size raise. And so in a spot where we're going to have some better coverage with the kickers, we're going to have more flush draws and straight draws that are going to be able to check raise. Because we're check raising more frequently, we're going to use a smaller size. And we are also going to have better defense where we're going to have more natural two pairs like Ace 6-5. We're going to have sixes and fives. We're going to have Ace 6 and Ace 5 here. And then we're going to have lots of combos around this 6 and 5, as well as our sets are protected a little more down here. Our opponent is going to have the best aces, but still we're going to have lots of aces to defend here. When we take a look, breaking it down a little bit into its flush draw components, we can see that on these flush draw boards, we've got a nice 16% raise, 45% call, and we can see that that is consistently true, right? When we have a 2 big card board, 50 big blinds deep, we are going to check raise much more polar. And when we have a high card with a couple of low cards, we're going to have a much smaller check raise. We see that is consistent throughout the kings, right? Where we have low kings, we check raise small. Big kings, check raise big. Queen with big cards, check raise big. Queen with smaller cards, check raise small, right? And this is, again, around the cards that we start having this donking frequency with, we're going to wind up using the smaller size. Jacks, again, we see a little bit more, but because our top pairs start needing more and more protection, we're using less of the smaller size and more of the bigger size, because our value needs that bigger size more often. So our bluffs need that bigger size more often, and same with the 10s and same with the 9s. But once we get down here, we can't really protect our top pairs as well by using a big bet size here, but our range protects us on an 8 high board against an opener, right? Or a 7 high board or a 6 high board. So we don't need to check raise as big once we get down into a lower spot. Right now, as our opponent sizes up with their initial bet, our response is going to be proportionally increasing our calls, decreasing our raises, and increasing the frequency which we're check raising small, right? And so now as the opponent has a bigger and bigger size, we can see that even some of the boards that we were check raising with a more robust big size, we're now using a more robust small size. So without further ado, let's delve into some solver work and see what we can do 50 big blinds deep. One thing I did also want to take a quick note of, the big blind strategy, 50 big blinds deep. This is kind of the last portion where we see us needing the extra equity of suited hands in our 3-bet range, right? We can see that it's starting to transition into the offsuit branches here at 50 big blinds. If we crank it up to like 60, 80 big blinds that we did, right, we can see that all of this type of offsuit stuff is much more oriented towards calling, and our 3-bet range is much more in the shape of the boomerang. But when we get down to 40 big blinds, this all disappears. So this 50 big blinds that we're going to do today is the last contingent of 3-betting from the suited side. And then we get into our much more standard, which we've done a lot of work on, 3-betting 40 big blinds and shallower. So last big blind defense with a active 3-bet size here. Let's go and do some examples and have some fun. All right, so we see a Jack 8-6 board, a flush draw. Equities are going to change a lot. Our opponent takes a very polarized size with the best of their value that they're going to have here, pocket queens, ace jack, king jack, and the best of their bluffs that they're going to have. So like a 54 of spades here. So against this sizing, what do we think we do with this dry, flavorless jack?
Check.
We did check and face a huge
Oh, sorry,
bet.
sorry. Call. Yeah.
Easy call. All right. We haven't lost enough money yet. A little bit of raise, but mostly just a call. We get a very favorable turn card for our hand. But is this actually a good card for us?
I guess they can have queen 9, but
Huh? Our opponent's going to have some bluffs that this card completes their equity with.
yeah, we're just gonna obviously check this.
Huh? And they give us the 60% pot bet.
Call it.
Could we raise here?
Well, they were polar on the flop, and now they are less polar on a very draw heavy turn. Equities completed, right? So queen 9 is in the house, 7-9's in the house.
7, 10.
There's lots of big hands here. Jacks and tens sets.
Too much going on.
If you raise, you might raise out their bluffs, and you might only play against their value here.
Yeah.
Right, so let's take a look and see what we are raising on this type of turn, because we should have some raises. So I should have said before we turn this over, what are we raising? And we can see our raise size is Stuffalophagus. Right? And so if we want to run a hand, it's going to be for all the cookies here.
Oh,
And
obviously
so
those Jack 9s are Jack 9 spades, Jack 9 hearts. It's the suited Jack 9s.
Yeah, 3
Oh,
of them.
sorry. Yeah, we can't have Jack 9 spades, but yeah.
Yeah, Jack 9. It actually wants to go with Jack 9 with the diamond and the club. Right, unblocking both of his abilities to have both flush draws here.
Right.
Right. But yeah, so 10-8 2 pair just wants to run it. So yeah, like we have a little bit of top pair that is going for it here. Queen Jack just decides it's had enough. Jack 9 sometimes decides it's had enough. Probably with the heart draw. And then it's 2 pair plus, and even some of the 2 pair is just calling here. Yeah, straight just calls. So yeah, we do have lots of garbagey bluffs here that are flush draws, right? So we have a queen with a flush draw, we bluff it. If we have a 9 with a flush draw, we bluff it. We have a 7 with a flush draw, sometimes we bluff it. Right? Yeah, some of our combo draws are going for it. So pretty spicy spot. So we definitely have some raises, but this doesn't quite get there, right? Wants to have the club diamond to be able to do it. And equity completes, changes the nuts frequently. Can't imagine that we are ever leading this board. And we face the stuffed turkey. All right. Flush is there, straight is there, board paired. Our opponent polarized the flop. Can I get an amen and fold this hand?
Yeah, we've emptied out our trash bucket and they're not afraid, so
Yeah, fold, I guess.
There we go. Amen. We stay alive, face the aces. Pretty good. All right. Ace 3. Let's go. 2, 3, 6.
Here we go.
Here we go. So for me, the 2 is a bit of a wild card. It doesn't really connect well with our straight and flush range. If this board were 3, 4, 7, I would be more inclined to bet it than 2, 3, 6. So this one does lead pretty frequently. So when we give it a check, the deuce pairs. Do we bet our 3 for protection or value, or just try and get to showdown?
This is a problem spot for me.
I think it's
I think I like
Probably
a
just a check.
small bet. I'm gonna put some chips in, boys.
Welcome to the party, Gavin. All right.
Just a little
small
bit.
bet.
I think yeah, no, bigger one. He wants
You
more
put-
chips.
Just a big bet. Just
You're just
83%.
He's putting a lot of chips in.
So yeah, we can see that this is definitely a spot where we have enough EV. We are super vulnerable. we want to bet once and bet big. Right? Probably a function of us having 4-5 in our range. Our opponent's checking back that flop. And I mean,
This is like a pretty blank card. He doesn't have sixes. He shouldn't have eights. I kinda wanna. Would it be too greedy to go for like 50% here?
I don't think so. We don't have hearts. He's gonna have to bluff catch us at some frequency here.
You don't wanna go too big because he's got a lot of face up stuff now, but he's gonna bluff catch you with like ace of hearts, jack sometimes if you bet.
Yeah, we can get called by ace queen. It goes even
Yeah,
smaller.
smaller bet. Yep. Yeah,
Ace,
know your
seven.
customer right there.
Know your customer. Galen owns the solver every morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. All right. King six suited. Anyone have a 3-bet here? Only 50 bigs deep.
Probably one of them, isn't it?
It'll
The
be
You're
not
boomerang?
that big.
Your suited ones realize equity so well from the big blind, so, I just play full frequency call with all of them. I think you might have some, like, I think king seven does some weird raising sometimes.
What is this, like a 20-80? Do you think? Would it be that? That might.
I would say it's gonna be more pure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have a smidge of 3-bet here.
You think
Primarily
maybe?
calling.
No,
Not even a
call.
smidge. But that's going to be an element of the range. It's going to be the right
King
spot.
six was a
You
range,
can
was a
three-bet
raise.
this occasionally.
Yeah, I think you will have something over there. For the most part though, like
Again,
it's.
against button.
Yeah, queen six.
It's the gappers that are coming in, the middling gapper squad.
Yes. So 5 and 7 with the king, 6 and 8 with the queen, right? All of the jacks, all of the heads, all of the nines.
Yeah,
So, yep. All right. So we get this nice little single raise pot, super dry monotone board. Check. We get a disrespectful Viv bet. All right.
I do wanna check raise, I think.
Okay. Against this size, are we check raising all of the king's horses at some frequency?
That's a good question, Peter, cuz I don't know. I would think you're not gonna give this man a free card for that size of a bet with a king.
Okay. So this is a rainbow king medium low. Are we going to use a small sizing or a big sizing?
It is a big size.
I think it's
Okay.
mixing of a call and 3-bet. It's 40% maybe
Okay.
call.
I'm
Okay,
going
so high
to,
frequency.
I'm gonna play my kings pretty face up with my check raising size, so smalls, I'm. Small check raising for the weaker ones and bigger check raise for the stronger ones.
All right, let's take a peek and then we'll take a look at the range. You can definitely see that both are good here. Primarily calling this king six,
Oh, no,
but
Yeah.
definitely.
Or just want to let him
raises
blast
here.
off.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the structure.
Yeah, you're right, Saeed. Lots of calling there.
Yeah. Lots of calling. If I would, I think it's king 6 off, maybe check raise. Yeah,
Yeah. So
King 4.
essentially,
king 5.
if you can make better than third pair with your kicker, you have some raising against this really small size. King 3 and king 2 just check pure, and all the rest mix it in there.
Yeah, your check raising is pretty polar, like it prefers larger size, so. It's just gonna split that with a lot of calls.
I am not kidding.
Can
Mostly
anyone
you do
hear
that.
me? I heard you for a second earlier, Arnie,
Hello?
but
Hello?
there you
Hello?
go.
Yep.
Can you hear
Yep.
me?
Yep,
Yeah,
loud and
yeah,
clear.
we can.
Welcome to the party. So we give him the business and get the rainbow ace. Can we imagine a worse card?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Check.
Check raise check. Okay. Our hand did get downgraded to a marginal hand. Our our opponent's gonna float the ace high spades, ace high hearts, ace high diamonds at some frequencies. Definitely gonna have lots of aces here.
Nope,
Uh,
wants to
does
bet.
choose double barrel, but checking is also just fine. You can see the EV loss is very minimal across all elements here.
Yeah, I guess, but if he does float us with like cards in between the king and the nine, like his gut shots and stuff, the ace isn't really gonna help him.
Yeah, they're gonna be
Yeah,
a brick
but then
wall.
I guess if he
Yeah,
does hit
which
that
is
ace
also-
from time to time, yeah.
Yeah, which is also why it's like still 7 EV chips here, right? He still
Yeah.
has lots of other garbage in the bucket.
He's got a pair of nines still.
Yeah, he's got nines here. He's got 78
Pocket
of diamonds
tens.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still doing just fine. And it goes check, check. Do we go
Block
for
it?
some value?
I like block, yeah, I was gonna say that's good. I think small's good.
Okay. 2 chips
Hmm.
or 6.5.
I would go 6.5 in game. I could see both of them
Yeah.
being okay.
Can
I
we
still
get
wanna go
more
for,
than
go bigger, go a little bit more max, get as much value as possible. Like at least
I-
61%. Even 15 possibly.
I'm a little nervous sizing up because
Yeah.
since the ace is hit, the hands that you're targeting like 9x, pocket tens, pocket jacks, pocket queens, they're gonna be able to
Yeah.
get away.
We are losing to
Okay,
king
it's easy.
7.
You
So
are
you
still
think-
losing to worse better kings too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, you can get behind that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
All in.
No.
I
Thank
can't
you.
find
Come-
this button fold fast
Yeah,
enough.
we hit the ace on the turn. Or bluff.
Thank you,
Look at
come
this
again.
sick bluff. Queen.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty savage.
If we
Oh no,
do
we
check,
did give up on the turn though too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we capped
checked
ourselves
back.
pretty hard.
Yep.
yeah,
And then we blocked on the river, which is really weak too.
Yeah, you're right, Arnie. We took a very weak line and we got hurt. That's what happened.
But how many
true.
people are turning their bottom pair into a bluff there? In game?
Very few.
5%.
Very,
Not
very,
even
very few.
5.
Only people who show up to this study session.
Mm.
All right. 10-3-3.
You might see some minor leading frequency, but I just play check. I do check raise here a lot, though.
Ooh. I mean,
Hmm. This one I think
against
I
this
just
disrespectful
fold.
size, I think I'm just gonna fold.
Yeah, you're not gonna be wrong folding, but I could see maybe if you had the suited one with the back door.
If it was a
Yep.
5,
Yeah,
10,
definitely. I
5,
like the suited
5,
one better as well too. Or
10-5-5, we definitely have a different strategy here, or if we have
Yeah.
6 diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
All right, a6. How frequently are you 3-betting this? If
Some,
ever.
I think some, maybe 20,
25%, yeah.
25%. I think you can get in there with this type of hand.
Okay, good job. Good job
15,
recognizing this is occasionally a
okay.
3-bet. We're gonna play the call line today, though, for the most part.
Yep.
8, 9.
Far too
Completed
contested to
equity.
ever think about, donking.
Opponent uses the bigger size, completed equity board.
Oh,
Is this
I
just a
think-
give up?
that's what I wanted.
Next hand.
just a fold.
Yeah, I'm gonna let go. Kinda, it feels close, but
Boring.
We're gonna be able to defend this board with lots of other stuff. Thank goodness he bet a little bit bigger. Oh,
alright. High-low combo, it's not a gapper, a mid gapper, so call primarily, although it does raise some.
yeah, so it was the king 6 and 8 and the queen 5 and 7. Okay. This is looking good. We are
Check
destined for the
call.
rope here. Bottom pair, backdoor
So
flush, backdoor straight.
sometimes we do turn bottom pair into bluffs. Would this be a situation you wanna do that? I don't think so. But I could see some arguments for why you might think so.
Maybe we can do it on the turn.
I would
don't know.
prefer to turn a hand like 7-5 of spades into a bluff here, because you're gonna clean up your clean two pair equity. Right here, the problem is like if we bluff, when the queen turns, he's still like the queen's still gonna be poisonous for us.
King, queen, 10, queen. Yeah, you're gonna get
Yeah.
hurt.
Like the queen's not going to be a clean out, so I wouldn't be check raising this combo. I might check raise 75 here occasionally, and usually a little deeper stack, like 80 or
Yeah.
100.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good logic, Peter. It does make a lot
Can
of
we see?
sense.
Can we? Yeah.
I think
Sure, we'll
we
take a
just,
peek.
we've gotten a good price to hopefully hit a spade
Yeah. Turn jack
or
of
a
the spade.
jack. 10 jack
Please.
spade.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
5-3, 5 deuce, 5-4.
No
And
five.
then when you check raise these combos with a 5, when you turn two pair, it's clean because your opponent is never in here with a 2 pair here now.
Yep. That's right, Pete. That's right. It's a good reason to do that.
And this is a deeper stack attack mode as well, right? Where you have more playability for bigger hands to cooler top pairs with 2 pairs and stuff like this. So
Hmm.
this is a good one, but easy call for us with the queen 5. We pick up equity with the straight draw, but pretty thin equity against the value of his improved value hands.
Yeah, this kind of feels bad. Like if he goes really big, I might just
Ugh.
fold.
Thank goodness.
check.
I'm just gonna
Alright.
check. I'm just gonna check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
check.
this is just a check. Check fold.
Well,
Check call a small bet. Check fold to big bet.
we
Are you gonna
blocked
turn
the
it?
straight.
You maybe could turn it into a bluff targeting like 10x, 9s, 8s, 7s at some frequency.
Yeah, we unblock hearts. I'm
Yeah. I don't
we're,
think
we're
so.
holding this in the back
Yeah.
pocket here. We're holding this in the back pocket.
He's not folding
Okay.
a 10. He's not folding a
Just has
king.
the
Yeah.
10, but
Yeah.
chicken. You can
It's
have that
a,
checkers on the river.
it's a good thought. I like the thought.
Yeah, we have a lot of kings that we just check, call, check with. So, yep. All right. We'll see what we
Okay.
have next.
This has some attractive check raise properties. I don't find a lot of check raises on ace high boards, but I feel like this could definitely be a reasonable one.
Okay, so ace 9 deuce, super kind of disconnected here between the ace and the 9 and the ace and the 9 and the deuce. But the ace deuce do connect to make the wheel cards very relevant for check raises.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. So you got backdoor hearts, backdoor wheel options. You can cooler some of his 9x that continues by hitting a king.
You probably get some folds too by check raising here.
Oh, for sure, for sure. When you
Yeah.
check raise an ace high board, like, it's pretty interesting.
Are you going to use the big size or the small size?
It's a good question, Peter. I think the fact that the ace is on the board is gonna make this hand, like, make his range pretty static for the most part. Like, you know, I would probably lean small, but I could see large. I don't know. I screwed the sizes up sometimes.
Mostly just a call. Sometimes
It
a
actually,
fold.
yeah, it just folds sometimes. This is kind of,
So
yeah.
1.2. All right. Well, we played the get in trouble line. We got ourselves in trouble.
Yeah,
How
the
are we
offsuit
gonna-
jack is, this is gonna conclude my action for the rest of this hand. I'm just gonna,
How are we gonna fed our way out of this wet moldy
You're gonna
paper
do check
bag?
fold.
Check
Yeah.
chicken. All right.
we tried our best.
Oh,
Yeah.
pickup
I
showdown.
did.
Just
Oh.
gonna, just gonna check.
Just gonna check.
Lose to a 9.
Occasionally blast.
Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, you're blocking the river trips, so oh, that hurts a
Ooh,
little bit. He got you with the sixes. That hurts a little bit.
yeah.
Okay.
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 Alright, very dangerous board, and we have very fragile equity here.
Yeah.
So,
Here
Big
comes the-
sizing.
Here comes the shovel.
yeah,
Just
man,
the call.
yeah.
Ooh, ew.
Ooh.
Look at what a disaster this is
Wow.
gonna be.
I guess we're not blocking any of the continues for the suited hands.
Nope. Oh. All right. So we saw that he went a little over half pot last time this type of scenario ran out.
It's gonna hurt.
He goes three
Yeah.
quarters. Ooh.
The fact that you're unblocking all of the flushes, I think you just have to continue still.
Yeah.
All of the flushes and all of the straights, right?
Yeah, feels kind of bad, man, but he is very, very, very saturated with draws. And this is a bluff catch card, like
Yep.
feels kind of bad, but
Yeah. Stack to pot ratio is good.
you just
Yeah.
have to call.
Hope he doesn't have
Yeah.
kings.
Yeah, queen.
Like,
Oh,
There he
aces.
goes.
yeah, pretty typical scenario, but like this plays out a lot online. Like it's just you get a very bricky card. It's
Hey, I
just-
got a question. Sometimes when I see bets that size,
Yep.
I'll fold that hand. Am I making a huge mistake? I knitted up too much.
Yep.
But in that scenario right there, I would have folded on the flop.
The
mistaken.
flop
No,
is
the
too
flop is
soon,
a call. Yeah.
but I don't know, like you play some lower stakes, so the
That's what
lower.
I was just saying with Pete is I just try to play like. That's my problem is I try playing so tight, so right there. And it usually works pretty good because I'm in the low state. Like I play micros up to $3.
Right, so people typically don't have a very polarized flop strategy.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so correctly, so when you start seeing really big bets on a flop in a $2-3 tournament, you can probably start releasing hands sooner, you know?
Right. Yeah, and that's what I was telling Pete before this. And I'm like,
Maybe I'm
somebody
trading.
with some good winnings, and I know he's a good player, I can, pull some shenanigans with him. And I know he looks at me and thinks, oh, this guy, he's a low stakes player. He's not going to do that. But with him, I can get away with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot
Well,
of
you
it's gonna be
find-
player dependent too, right?
Exactly.
Like if you're sitting at a table with someone and they're always betting 3/4 on the flop, every flop, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Then you
call.
can sort of guesstimate type of thing, right? But
Right.
When you find yourself playing the daily special 10 and you're in against Saeed and Galen, good luck with that.
That's why I
Because
stay
these
away
guys
from
are up to all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, you gotta stick around a little bit more when you start moving up in stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. If
Uh,
you find that your population is just too value heavy there, then by all means fold. Right.
Okay.
The GTO line is the GTO line based on what your population's doing.
Right.
So
right.
right. We get a check through flop with these fours paired twos. We saw something like this a little bit earlier.
Yeah. I
Right,
was about to
so
say, yeah. 83 or
my inclination was to bet small, but I think a large bet makes a lot more sense here now, just because he shouldn't have a lot of 9x.
in
Nope,
game. Oh, I was about to say in game
Okay.
55. I would do 55.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. See, this time it
55.
does bet small, which is pretty funny.
So
Yeah.
before it was 6, 3, 2, and the 4, 5 is something we can flop. Here he does have offsuit nines from the cutoff.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
He's
yeah,
gonna
so
be
he
more
does have some
represented with some
9x.
weak top pairs.
And there's
He's gonna show
no
yeah,
straights
92.
either.
Yeah,
Okay, that
they're
makes more
less
sense.
protected. So it sizes down a little bit and we get check raised. Can you imagine what our opponent is check raising with us on this board?
I mean, it's like pocket nines and ace
raising.
deuce of clubs. That's like it.
All right. It's
I'm
pretty
calling. I was about to say,
Oh.
I'm calling.
It's never call.
I was gonna say he's got like 8s or 7s or something silly. Wants to see if we got a
Check the
9 or
flop
not.
and wait for the overcard to, yeah, okay.
It's a pretty interesting way to play eights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This is one of them.
Would play call here a
Wait,
lot.
Alright.
I think you might
I
raise
hope I
this
didn't
sometimes. I don't
accidentally
know.
call it.
Oh, it's
no.
suited, sorry, suited ace, sorry. Offsuited eights we were raising there, I think, right?
Yeah, so
See?
your offsuit sevens,
off.
eight,
Yeah.
sixes.
Sorry.
This is freezing up for anyone else?
Oh, did it freeze up on you? You should be the only one.
Oh, there we go. Yep, we're on the go. Alright,
Okay.
king 10 deuce. Backdoor flush.
Yeah, it's a check call, I guess. Depends how big he goes. I'm gonna see a turn.
yep, check call.
Yeah,
The disrespectful size. So we get to float very light. Get the flush completing board static card. Anyone finding the lead here?
I just don't think we have too many deuces and
A lot
he's
of
gonna
our
have,
flushes, we're gonna be check raising.
yeah, he's got flushes that beat like just our deuce X, so no, I'm gonna just play check.
what about check raise?
I mean, the more high cards there are on the board, the less flushes he has, and the more we do.
I think we'd want a blocker to the spades, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I was saying most of our flushes, we would probably check raise flop. To that small sizing, right? To get money
I
in the
would,
pot
I would think so at some,
Oh,
yeah.
check.
at some frequency.
I'm playing
Dude.
check here.
Two Broadway cards. I don't know that we want to be check raising too often, though.
I agree.
Let's take a look at that flop. Here
Even with our flush draws.
yeah, king 10 is just going to be a board that he's going to continue with a lot.
You will check raise
and he might
some,
even raise
but
back.
I think it's gonna be really big. It's gonna be really polar.
So, well, I took the 20% size, so we're gonna have a little more check raising, but yeah, like 12%, 16. Okay, 16. That's a pretty good amount of check raising. But yeah, lots of calls and check raising, two pair, top pair, sets. And then flush draw nuts wants to check raise. Flush draws want to check raise at some mixed frequency. And then the straight draws want to check raise.
Yeah, honestly, it
like-
looks pretty across the board for the most part.
Yeah. I would think that our opponent's going to call a lot when we check raise is the problem. Okay. Just show back ace high here. Ace king, pretty good.
I was gonna say you probably bluff catch here too if he bets, but.
Yeah.
Don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, he just checks back at 10. Interesting, doesn't go for thin value there.
So this is when you might raise sometimes.
Okay.
Minor frequency, still majority call.
Okay. Very good. Very good frequency.
Actually, majority.
Yeah, majority 3-bet.
Remember, it's going to be suited fives, offsuit eights, suited sixes, offsuit nines. So the 8 is really going to target the bottom of his range well here, and we block the best of value. So this is what likes to do a lot of 3-betting there. All right.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Alright, we gotta go grande, boys.
Down king.
I'm not gonna go too crazy. I'm gonna hit him with an 83 here. Maybe a 55.
I think 55.
So our range really wants to bet this board.
Yeah, I think it wants to
we got
bet.
16 combos of 7-6.
Cause we have the 8 of spades. Does that change anything of our betting size?
Little bit maybe.
Probably not.
Little.
No.
That's
The thing is, like this is a board that we're gonna want to really frequently bet. The more frequently we bet it, the smaller the size we generally use.
Okay,
So it might push it out of these big polar ranges and more
Right.
into the 55 and 33 range here.
Yeah, so the hands that he's checking back are like the complete air balls and like his marginal strength, and he's protecting it with like super nuts sometimes.
Yeah,
But,
he has aces.
Yeah, but for the most part, like this range is like pretty naked. Actually, it still checks. Look at that.
Look at
He has
that.
checks.
Unless you're
200%.
going 2x pot.
Yeah, this is
That's
surprising.
crazy.
I would think that we would need to do our own work building the pot here. But I
What are we
guess it's
gonna
one
do?
of those things like, yeah.
A delayed check raise? What are we gonna do?
This might be too good to check raise.
You gotta check raise it now.
Yeah.
Right,
Check
right?
the small.
Are we gonna check raise it now?
For sure, we're gonna check raise it. With the ace, I'm always check raising here.
You got to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
really
bigger.
big.
Bigger.
You're going really big.
Charges, flush draws.
Yeah. That's 3, take 19.
so what other eights do we check raise big with? Kings, queens?
Well, we're gonna have
Uh,
sets of fives probably. So full houses, we're gonna have
Right.
straights.
I'm just
Right,
talking
we've got-
about if when we have eights though. What
So
else?
the eights that we're gonna check raise smaller with are eights that are gonna be less vulnerable and block more of the value. So like 8-7,
7, yeah.
we would check raise smaller probably. And if we didn't have a spade, right? He has more continues. So let's take a peek at that. So against his size, ace 8, as you can see, really wants to use the big size because we're coolering him when he has an 8 and he's never escaping.
Right.
Queen 8, right? We want to take a smaller sizing with king 8, jack 8, 10 8, and an even smaller sizing with like 6 8,
Okay,
right? So the best value ones, ace, king, queen. Ace particularly goes really big. King, queen a little bit less. And then,
Yeah. They're
yeah.
still vulnerable to some extent, right? Like the board texture can shift on the next card and will very frequently. And I mean, you could be downgraded to a bluff catcher very easily. Whereas like pocket eights, 8, 7, 8, 6, 8, 9, they're way less vulnerable. 8, 10, way less vulnerable.
And yeah, we probably also want our opponent to be holding some of these cards too.
Yeah, so that probably would play into it as well.
Because then the straight completes would make the full house and we get them for the enchilada. Okay, give him the big size. And
He's like, it's
Oh,
just a
okay.
prank, bro. Just a prank.
nothing serious, nothing serious. All right. Big 9 off. Ooh, occasionally gonna throw.
This is-
25%.
Yeah, this is on the upper end. It's gonna mainly call, I think, but yeah, I mean, it's in there. It's good.
Way to show
Okay.
up, study. 25% 3-bet king 9. Good job.
Close.
It's one of those hands, you're like, oh, you 3-bet it, then you lose half your stack. And you're just like, why did I do that now?
I
Oh,
hate
goodness.
GTO. I hate it.
Call.
I am never making this call.
Yeah.
So this one
Yeah.
makes, so this makes a
Well, it's
lot of
such a
sense
small
now.
sizing, right?
Well, he doesn't really have 2s and 3s. And you improve on a 10, you improve on a queen. I could see continuing here.
This is a guy who accidentally, when playing live, dropped his tip for the waitress, and the dealer took it as a bet and slid it forward and said, "One chip to call, sir."
Yeah, that's what that is, exactly.
All right. Rainbow, Ricky of bricks. Oh my goodness. Get me out of here. Uh, I mean, we're so wide here. If we're bluffing this, I think we're bluffing too much.
You gonna put one chip in? 1.5?
I'm not putting one chip in.
Yeah,
just
me
taking
Then he's
either.
gonna show us
So-
like pocket sevens.
If you want to put chips in, you got to put 4 in.
Yeah, a little more.
Turn this into a bluff. I'm just, oh my gosh. I should have folded for that one chip earlier.
Jam.
My.
Yeah, what do you have in this range, guy? Ace eight, okay.
That's one chip on the flop, checks back turn when he makes second pair. Goes for thin value on the river.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Big 5. Anyone ever 3-betting this, or is this too weak?
I
Oh,
like three betting
sometimes.
these more than I do like king nine, king 10, to be honest. Like I pull more from the lower end than the higher ones.
I agree.
Yeah, I think against the cut of the button, this is a great 3-bet, but I think against the cutoff, it's not going to do it very
Yeah,
often.
you're probably right, Pete. I treat the button and the cutoff pretty similar.
I know you do.
Uh,
Check raising Galen since 2021 when he. Alright. So we face this gross board. He's gonna barrel.
I would not be surprised
Oh.
even if
I
you
think we're
start
gonna see some
folding.
folds here,
Yeah. There we go, Arnie. I would not be surprised.
right? Cuz he's gonna polarize on the turn.
We
It's-
could,
it's
I
we
tough.
think
could,
we call and
we
then
could be
fold.
dead in the water here. Like he could just be, have
There
us
a lot
dead
of the
right.
jacks will start folding. This might be one, like, we don't have a back, like, we will call if we have like backdoor flush draws. I think it might actually, but I think it
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
with the
yeah.
jacks first and then keeps this in.
So how
But
much of his
maybe-
range is
I
gonna be
mean, we have a
using
lot of
this
aces still, 50 big blinds, so we can,
Sure. How much of his range is gonna be using this size? Let's say over under 20%.
Under.
most of it, a lot of it
Under 20?
uses that size.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
gonna
probably,
be
yeah,
betting
probably
on
about
this.
20%. Under 20%, yeah.
I
Let's
think
take a
this is
look.
90%. Yeah, 90% call, 98% call.
I think he's gonna
Ace,
have
king,
bigger,
jack, rainbow.
he's gonna have some bigger sizes too, I think.
Let's take a peek at what our opponent is supposed to be doing here.
So 30, oh, actually, I was
He's
wrong.
got
Look
no
at
small
this.
sizings. Yeah, it's
Wow,
all
this
big
is-
sizing.
This is the elusive range bet with large bets.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a function of the board being rainbow, so it's hard for us to continue, and every card being really good for our opponent's range. Right, so he just gets to apply maximum pressure. And we saw an example of this earlier this morning, and like he's gonna range bet flop, and he's gonna range barrel turn here. Like this is just a gross spot.
Yeah, it's tough,
yeah.
right?
0.01. Hang on, Chip EV Warriors. Oh, this is great. We even block value with the King of Diamonds. It's never gonna want to fold this.
Now we're gonna lose to King 10.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness he checked back.
Okay. Now we're jumping.
I can't believe someone wants to bet
Oh,
this.
block.
Okay, he just gave up with 9-6. So yeah, like it's actually a surprising check on the turn. I got to take a peek at that turn range because like
Because I think he picked up the 6. If it was any other card,
yeah, but he can't
Maybe
ever think that 6 is good.
mm,
Well, he might
he's
get
Right,
it
we
up
like
called
to
with,
six.
we called with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
king, an ace, or maybe
Yeah,
what,
yeah, yeah.
worst case scenario, we've
up.
got a gut shot.
He has
Yeah,
some
like-
hopes.
He's when he
Not by
turns
checking.
the 6, he's trying to realize equity of making 2 pair or trip 6s here.
Yeah,
Right? He takes his super marginal range and yeah, like 35% of range and then 8% more, right? And then 6% more, like 50% of range is blasting turn, right? And it is gross.
Oh, look
Right,
at all
he
the
finds
6s.
the-
Yeah,
What do you have?
9-6 suited. How did he
Yeah,
check?
how did it find
What
it
the
while
solver
letting
found
run
that sliver of check?
sliver
He's
check?
living in the sliver. Like, yeah, if he barrels this turn, it's gross. We probably have to call with our king, right? And he bets.
Oh, that was weird.
83%. Yeah, when he bets 83%.
It's probably the sliver that he doesn't have doesn't pick up the backdoor the flush.
Mm,
Yeah, when he bets 83, our kings start to become indifferent, and we only call with the diamond blocker. And none of the offsuit call anymore. But he didn't barrel turn like he should have. All right. 50 big blinds deep. Eights.
Probably our bottom, right?
We're
Eight-
three betting this for sure.
How frequently?
75.
Woo! Spicy.
60-40.
60-40. All right. I'm gonna go like 50-50.
70-30.
Maybe 60% call, 40% 3-bet. Oh, 70.
70.
Let's go. All right, but we take the call line, face an ace high board. Check back one street. Disrespectful bet size. I mean, pretty easy call above 7-5. Can't imagine we ever really want to raise here. Get a card that's good for our hand. Definitely going to check back. Yep, continue. And our opponent checks. Queen on the river. Do we bet?
Block bet.
Just chip and a half.
I think the queen's just really bad for us here. I think we just try to check to get the showdown.
But if we block it, then will he raise it?
Sometimes. Do you think our
Hmm.
opponent ever checks queen high on the turn?
I think on an ace high flop, maybe that we called. But then we'd probably be check raising a lot of our aces on that flop too. So
Yeah.
I'd be check raising almost all my aces.
Yeah, we go for the really small bet here because he can still call us with a 7, a
7,
5, or a
5,
3.
yeah.
Or pocket 4s, pocket 6s. Right? All of this type of stuff. He might even call us with, king high here for this price on chip. Right? The accidental spill. Oh, he finds the check back turn raise river. I mean, I know that my poker tracker 4 tells me that I never make money in this spot by calling. So for me, I'm gonna be leaning towards a fold here.
So what do you find? The population doesn't screw around enough on the river enough, eh?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
the low stakes,
river
you bet
raises
one
are-
big blind, 1.5 big blind. They attack it hard.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
not the higher stakes.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, river raises are more honest than any other street as place. So it calls and it loses. So king, queen. Yeah, just check back king high. Okay, that makes sense. Ace jack off. How frequently are you 3-betting this one? 50 big. Okay.
55.3.
Oh my goodness.
This
I
is
just
probably
think
gonna be a lot more like the last one, right?
All right. 71.
70%. This hand's just too good not to start getting chips in the pot, I think, versus the cutoff.
You are going to want to protect your range occasionally with it, but mostly doing some 3-betting.
Yeah, I'd
Very
be more
nice to
inclined
show up with it
the
here,
suited
though.
stuff,
Oh,
the 5.
ouch. I mean, our ace of club or ace of spades really
Eights.
want to float.
I want to raise this one.
Want to give him a little clicky poo.
Call.
Okay.
It's too big, but when he raises that big, are we supposed to?
We will still have some
Yeah.
raises,
Okay.
but they will be very small. Okay. I'm trying to figure out if I'm folding here.
I think you wanna continue, but I'm not raising. It's very thin. Just
Well-
because if you get a 9 or a 10, you pick up equity on that end. If you get a king or a king or a queen, or king or 10. Or, yeah, a king, you can pick up equity on the other end. It's
Because we
very
don't have
big,
any,
though.
yeah, because we don't have any direct stuff, I'm wondering if it's gonna pick the fold and the raise bucket. Not the
You
call.
also went like low frequency call, like this should be like a high frequency raise pre-flop, right? So. I think we're a little
72%.
okay. Feels like we're a little under rep. Maybe, yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you gotta still call.
Just calls. Alright.
I think you get to play
Uh,
donk on on some turns too. But, not this. This is
Yeah.
bad. This is just gonna. Check,
Yeah, we
probably
wanna
check
donk
fold.
on maybe a 5, a 6, a 7, right?
You
Any
could donk a
configures between the-
4. Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think are all probably good donk cards.
The good news is we are still ahead of bluffs here.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Alright, so here's the conundrum. Alright, like, we got the jack. But like you said, we're probably ahead of bluffs, so. Turning the best 10 into a bluff is kinda weird sometimes.
What about a check raise?
Oh, that is so spicy. I think
Um,
having a spade is bad here and having a heart is bad here. We want these cards in our opponent's hand.
he
good
played
point.
check on the turn, didn't he? He played check on the turn, so, um. I don't know how much of our value is gonna be going for. Check raise versus that. Versus the bet check
Yeah,
bet
I
line.
mean, he could just have jack 7 of clubs here. Right?
Yeah,
we're
he
just
could.
winning sometimes when we check.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
We're definitely
dude.
check raising this.
Oh my gosh.
We're
dude.
definitely check raising.
Hold on, hold on,
I sort of
hold
just
on.
wanna
Maybe
call.
raise.
I sort of just wanna call,
Alright.
What?
but I don't.
I was
So
gonna
we just sorta,
say, like,
sort of
do we
under-repped our
ever?
hand so bad.
Yeah, I feel like, I kinda feel that, Arnie, but I mean, it's also like almost 3x pot.
But like,
Yeah.
he's never, he's not doing this with a 9. Maybe he's gonna, yeah, I don't know. He's not
Yeah, he's
checking
doing
back
this
a
with
queen.
sets of 9s.
He could have a set of 9s here. Sometimes he could, well, does he polarize the flop with a set of 9s? Uh.
Is he turning jacks into a bluff here? Cause he's blocking the straight.
That'd be very hard, but maybe 10s.
10s?
No, I don't think he polarizes the flop with 10s. That's the problem here, okay? So like, what on the flop does he bet big with? Here, that's gonna just play check and then go bananas on the river here. I mean, jack 10 makes some sense. It could just be jack 10 of diamonds or something.
So in theory, he's supposed to have like a 50-50 value to bluff, but humans don't do that.
In this range, yeah.
Could just be jack 10.
Yeah, which we block, which is why we saw a little bit of shenanigans.
Blockers don't fucking matter, you know? Do they? They don't matter. I had freaking 2 jacks and the person still had jack 10.
King 7, 5, 6.
Mm.
He definitely has some incomplete hands here, right?
He should definitely, yeah.
Five,
I'm
gonna
six,
surprised we call it all blocking his busted flush draw.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Yeah.
gonna have like king 10, he's gonna have.
Yep.
Yes, pocket nines.
Is registration closed?
That's a very relevant question.
Is it the $3 or is it the $25?
pretty wild, to
If
be
you,
honest.
if you guys find that 3x move with
Jack
your thing,
10.
it just
Just
works
the-
on
just the-
Jack 10.
Just
10, just the
enough.
nuts. All right. So, in game, can we find all these bluffs? Like he laid it out for us here. Ace 5, King 7, 5, 6, flop the solver. Let's take a look at what's in this bucket.
It's gonna be interesting. I would think maybe he does this with king ten or something like that. It's a lot of jack ten, there's some king ten, there's some king jack. King jack was the other one I was missing. 10-7 is just like nut blocker city.
Yeah, so he's got some 2 pair that takes this size, not a set. Set wants to get value.
Yeah,
Not an over pair.
so queen four is
A
really
little bit of
weird.
top pair.
Queen four is weird
Yeah.
because he bet big, but then he decides to check.
Yeah, I guess try and induce. Under pairs, nope. Second pairs. He's got some king high that he does it with. King 10, king jack.
Yeah, I could see that.
Unmade hands. So yeah, jack 7, jack 6, jack 5, 10, 7, 10, 6. All these busted straight draws, and right, a bunch of them are combo draws too. So yeah, here's some busted combo draws in here. Okay. Let's go for another good one.
Yeah, that was a good hand. I feel pretty good about that one.
All right, king, queen, 50 bigs deep.
The
70,
offsuit
30.
one. Yeah, I was gonna say, you can 3-bet this one a lot, I think.
Pretty bitty.
50,
Mm.
50, 50, pretty good. 70, 30,
Mm.
just fine. All right. So we take the call line and we immediately regret not 3-betting it.
You know, I might just release here.
No spade. We would prefer to actually have queen jack here than king queen, or ace queen rather than king queen. I can get behind that.
Nope.
Chip EV. Let's go. Oh, defend the fringe. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Can't really do anything here.
Not much to do, right? Like it's 7, doesn't change anything for us when we have a 7 or a deuce. Well, I mean, everything's out there. We get ace high to fold when we bet here. Right? Or
Maybe
does ace high
you,
fold?
I mean, I don't think ace high folds. I think you just check and win sometimes. Nope, you go bananas.
Not the Rudy 3x.
I guess you're mimicking having a 9 here.
Or a
Uh,
deuce.
dude, 3x pot is crazy.
Well, we're not going to get bluffed here very often. When we
Yeah,
fold 5 high.
I mean, he's gonna fold his 7s there. He's gonna fold everything basically except a 9. He might even start folding some 9x, cuz like he's gonna be like, you have 9-7.
So the 3x pop, but let's take a look what's in the bucket before we close it out for today. All right. What's in our 3x river bucket? Oh, lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. Oh, look at this.
Dude, this is
10% difference.
this is a wild hand. Like you're even jamming sometimes.
Yeah, 450% pot. But yeah, like just a huge swath of the range, right? Like checking only 20%. Like, what are you checking back here? I gotta see this.
I think it's just one of those things that, yeah, so kings and aces, sure. I think it's just one of those things that like neither of you really have anything,
So yeah,
except that you will occasionally have stuff, but he just doesn't.
so when we take the 300% line, he calls with 9s, he calls with full houses, goes all in with full houses. He bluff catches us with a 7 sometimes. And he bluff catches us with pocket kings.
Dude, that's wild. That is like,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one.
Opponent checks back and folds pocket queens. I don't think people fold pocket queens in game.
Well, it's hard to say because when's the last time you saw a 3x pot bet after it goes like check,
Check.
check, bet one, call, check, check.
Bam.
Especially with a lot of people like to check raise their top pairs on the flop.
Yeah,
All right, my goal is to find some 300% pot bets for next week.
yeah, that's that's it's a good one.
Let's see how that goes.
People are just gonna call you just because you're curious.
Let's
Make
Let's
sure you
hope
have